Ladies and gentlemen, I have done it. I have busted this Roman dodecahedron mystery right open. Let me tell you, this video is in no way me being a historian or like an archaeologist or something. I have no qualifications whatsoever. I'm just saying some random stuff that I think, so, you know, take all of this with that in consideration. Alright, moving on. First, some preamble. Alright, let me just run through what it's not first. Number one, everybody thinks this is some kind of a tool for like a craft, right? Like, I think the biggest one that I've noticed is knitting, like for gloves. And they're like, okay, so these little knobs are for you know, putting the thread or the yarn around, and then the holes are like so that you can have different sizes for your fingers or whatever. But this somebody pointed out that this wouldn't be useful for that because the actual size of the gloves would actually be determined by like the density of the number of stitches and stuff like that. And this would be flippin' useless because you would really make like really bad gloves with it. And also, Romans probably made their gloves out of leather and stuff because that's like way more practical for holding weapons. Yeah, not for that. But there's like a whole other number of things like measuring or range finding or something. But like, as we've kind of seen time and time again from like everybody who makes videos about this, look at the differences between all of these. There's been hundreds of these things found, and all of them are different in a way that renders all these little like unique details completely useless from artifact to artifact. So you look at this one, it's kind of round here. The holes are really small compared to the other ones, and it's also got these little decorations. Here, this one doesn't have any holes other than little pinholes, and it's got a lot of them. It's also not even a dodecahedron. It's like an icosahedron or something like that, right? And it's got all this ornamentation. This one right here is like really pronounced. But again, like all the holes are different sizes in a way that kind of makes them useless for measuring or something. This one, the holes are really big, and the knobs are really small. Right, okay, so this wouldn't be good for a guide. It wouldn't be good for measuring anything because there's no precision between these. Anything that this could hold, you could make a way better version of this with way easier process. Like, somebody pointed out that these were always found with wax in them. The immediate thought is, oh, you put candles in there. No, because come on, man, they make candle holders, alright? And this would be the most stupid candle holder. I mean, what are the knobs for, you know? And also, you know, the whole, oh, it's for different size candles. Yeah, again, what is this, you know? You could just literally stick a candle in a cup. You know, it's pointless as a candle holder. And there's nothing to hold it with, so you can't pick your candle up and walk around in the dark with it. It's just, yeah, no. Somebody pointed out this might be part of a larger measuring device. I mean, it could be used for, maybe they put some string on these knobs and like attach it to something, and then you can get weird different angles that way. But, you know, trigonometry had already been invented by that point, and there's way better ways of doing that than with this contrived and expensive item. All right, so obviously it's not like a guide or a tool or used for a craft or something. Okay, what else could it be? Somebody pointed out that it could be used for a game. No, because they're only ever made out of like the most expensive possible material. Like this one looks like it's made out of bronze. This one probably made out of like copper. Silver. They didn't have welding back then. There's no welding machine. Some dude had to sit down and use some advanced metalworking techniques on this by hand. They've never found any of these that are made out of anything other than metal, like wood or something, or flippin' wax. Also, if it were meant for being rolled or something, or thrown or whatever, I'm sure these knobs wouldn't make it very useful. They would just get broken really quickly. I mean, yeah, no, not used for a game piece. The last thing was like a religious artifact. Okay, I'm not saying that that's not what this is for. You just can never know, because it's like, look at this. What kind of ceremonial thing with this, usually it's pretty apparent when something is ceremonial, because it would usually be something like a practical item that was made impractical. Like the classic thing is a sword, like a really fancy sword that is really fragile or something, obviously used for ceremonial purposes, because why the frick would you ever use it to fight with if it would be damaged so easily? This item right here serves no reasonable purpose that I can even come up with. I had an incredible realization. Okay, so here's another clue, is that these are always found in either a rich person's house or a military encampment or something, like a fort. I have busted this question wide open. At first, I'm going to show you some other images of items, and I'm going to see if you can work it out in your head. Okay, so the first item is this. Hooks. Look closely at these hooks. These are no ordinary hooks. Here's another one. Notice how there's, this one has steps of creating the hook. Little, clue there. Notice how these hooks have different levels of ornamentation. This one has a little, a flute right there and some twists. This is a teapot. It's not a real teapot. This is a drawing of a teapot. Digital drawing of a teapot. Here's another one. Okay. Notice how there's different levels of ornamentation on these teapots. This one has a little bit more of a defined kind of little like shapes. This one is much more simple. And this is a stool. Notice how this one has a little bit of wood joinery. This one right here is quite a bit more simple. All right, what do these items all have in common? These were made by craftsmen as a competence item. If you've ever done forging, right, or taken a class on forging or something, you've made these hooks. I remember meeting a guy who was taking up forging at his house, and he was just making hundreds of these things as practice. This was made by a 3D artist. The same with this one. Well, actually, this one is famous. It was made by one of the people that invented 3D modeling. But the reason they made these is as a demonstration piece to show that they have competence in 3D modeling. If you've ever taken a woodworking class, you've made this in woodshop. This is the first thing you created. You create this to show that you can cut stuff at angles, you can make a curved cut, you can chamfer edges, do a little bit of wood joinery. Let's return to this thing. Why are these found at military camps? What would be in a Roman fort? Probably a lot of metal workers and metallurgists or whatever. I bet they made these to demonstrate their ability to do metallurgy, to make metal tools or weapons, or to work on armor or whatever. Because all of the little similarities, but not similarly enough to be useful for anything. If I were to show this to somebody and be like, look, I can fix your helmet, and I show them this, they'd be like, dang, not only did this guy cut out all these little intricate metal pieces, accurately measured it into this dodecahedron at weird angles, surfaced it, finished it, welded these little knobs on by hand, mind you, and it's quite a nice item, quite a complex item. Useless, but complex and cool looking. Some are even really advanced, like this one's got little ornamentation all over it. It's got stuff etched into it, Actually, no. This is probably what it was. I bet you had a Roman metallurgist who was a master, like certified as a master bronze worker or something, and had an apprentice and made the apprentice make this. Like, hey, Tiberius Tactheratrix III of Pompeii, to prove yourself before I certify you as a tradesman is create a dodecahedron. And I will give you some anecdotal evidence. When I took a welding and metalworking class in college, I made one of these.
That's a Harbor Freight helmet.
I literally made one of these, not with the knobs or anything, but I made the outline of a shape like this out of little metal pieces and welded them together just to prove that I could do it. And I had no idea at the time what this was. I guarantee you, no, I don't actually guarantee, this is in no way, I have no evidence of this whatsoever, but the point is, I bet you a lot of money that some tradesman had their apprentice make this. I bet I'm gonna end up in a mini Minuteman history video where he absolutely shreds my ideas apart. So, hi, thank you, goodbye.